RTD Live Talk, midday live stream. So I wanted to check in real quick and basically just talk through some of this silver mess as the rigging appear to be unwinding. And so I want to share with you a couple articles and some things that I've been talking about for quite some time now, which I think is very relevant for this current time frame. And so I wanted to check in real quick and get the pulse from the actual people themselves. So hope everyone's doing well this Sunday afternoon. Not typical to do a live stream on Sunday, but I figure what better time to do it other than right now, just because a lot of people are concerned as well as excited as well. But be careful because after having a chance to think this through, I believe that a lot of this has to do with the ultimate setup. And of course, unfortunately, the people never truly win in the way that they think they should. But just came across some stuff here I want to share and get your guys' thoughts on what's going on. And so how can you not talk about silver? Because everybody and their mother is talking about it now, which is a good thing. And so the time might be here. But anyway, I'm going to check in via chat real quick and then welcome everybody for taking time to join me this afternoon. And then we'll walk through some things here. I'll lay my case as to why no matter what happens, JP Morgan is still in charge. And I believe that this whole Wall Street bets is not a grassroots movement. This is a strategic attack to usher us into that digital atmosphere they want to take us in. And so I hope if I do a good job today, I should lay out a good case for why I believe that is so. And you guys can share your thoughts on it. So enough rant on my end. Dive in real quick. We got Jim Diggs. Appreciate you for tuning in. And so it says, can't buy silver at APMEX or JD Bullion. What up with that? And so that is another reason why I wanted to check in, just because I've gotten some emails where people said, hey, Mike, check this out. I can't get it. So yeah, the true squeeze is here. The squeeze in regards to people not being able to get physical at a time that they want to because of the concerns by the actual bullion dealers, as they are not quite sure as to what the actual price will be moving forward, given that this whole squeeze stuff is really causing panic from the top down all the way down to the bottom of this extras pyramid here. So anyway, we're gonna talk about that. We got Nathaniel, we got Pabar in the building. He says, "So the Discord bots works. You just got the notification. Good deal. That sounds good there. So I want to make sure for those that are tuning in and who might watch the replay on this, make sure you guys join the Discord and you'll be notified right away as to when we go live, so you guys can stay in tune and we can stay plugged in. We got Excalibur in the building, low blood pressure, silver." What else we got here? Let me see. Nathaniel, I'll be your Huckleberry. Okay. Golden State Mint has silver, still has silver. Okay, so that seemed like it's a nice little heads up there. So those that want to get their weight up last minute while still available, Golden State Mint appears to have some supply. And I'd imagine a lot of the coin deals, they have supply. It's just that window of time between now or this past weekend and tonight, when the markets open up on the Eastern Hemisphere, they don't want to just basically start selling right now, given the fact they're anticipating another price spike. And I'm hearing a lot about the ramp up in premiums. And so that's another factor as well, because, once again, the ability for these bullion dealers as well as coin dealers and you name it to actually continue to source metal at the rates they probably prepaid for them at is probably going to become scarce. So prices are going to go up on their ends, which puts more of a pinch on their business of them being able to stay in the bullion business. So, all right. But anyway, I'm getting off track there. Let me see here. We got Benny Blanco says, U.S. retired. Good to see you, good brothers. How you doing, my friend? Appreciate you for joining us. Mr. Diamond, Master Chai. Okay, so a fair amount of people here. Appreciate you taking time to join us. Got a couple of things I want to talk about, and how, my personal opinion. You guys, for those who've been around for a while, my opinion. I like to think far left field and bring it on back in and talk what are the possibilities of going around the mainstream narrative. Because right now, silver is getting a lot of attention. And what we're being told from a lot of the experts in the field is that it's the young investors, your mom and pops or whatnot, getting involved. And of course, a lot of attention is being brought to that atmosphere there. But a lot of what they're doing happens to be in the paper and all those financial product markets with the SLV and all that stuff, geared around the narrative of what the Wall Street's bets group is supposed to be trying to disrupt, and that's the whole manipulation of the silver market. But here's one of the things: this whole time frame we're in now is not by coincidence. I don't believe that we are now having a group of individuals, whoever they are, that's all of a sudden now tired of the manipulation that's been going on for ages. And all of a sudden, at the beginning of 2021 in January, all of a sudden, all this noise, all these disruptions in the mainstream narrative. And so I don't buy it for 1 second. I believe it's Wall Street's bets. Wall Street's bets is the actual entity themselves. Like they are the establishment. Like I have not a drop of doubt that the people who are funding all this, they're a part of this, because this is the whole agenda to move us into that Agenda 2030 timeframe. This is all in alignment with the whole initiative of them wanting to orchestrate a great reset. So I believe that this is a strategic attack on a lot of the middlemen. When I mean middlemen, you got the too big to fail banks at the top 6 or 7 banks that are the majority shareholders in the Federal Reserve. The monetary system is all about them. And then you got those in between. You got the hedge funds, the venture capitalists, you got the bullion banks, you got the hedge funds, you got all those people in between that are what are considered the expendables. They're in the mix between the too big to fail banks and the retailers. And it's time to clean our house and all these middle tier corporations, in terms of billions, because mind you, the too big to fail banks, they're in the trillions with the derivatives and quadrillions, whatever. So it's that middle tier that is now about to get squeezed out with all this margin calls and shorting the markets and, just basically the disruption of the paper system. So at the top of this extra pyramid, everything at the top, we got derivatives, we got non-government entities, we got whatever, all those corporate bonds, all that stuff at the top of the extra pyramid is what is unraveling right now. And it's all crashing down on what? At the very bottom of that, as you guys can see me put over here, as you guys can see at the very bottom here, you can't see it, but even underneath the gold is the smallest market, which happens to be the silver market in regards to historically trusted tangible money in a sense. So I'm ranting already, so forgive me. Let me dive right in and kind of lay out my case for why I believe that everything's transpiring now is in alignment with what they want, the establishment want. Or when I mean the establishment, those that control the Federal Reserve System. And of course, the biggest player in all of this from a historical standpoint happens to be JP Morgan. And so I actually came across an article here, or a news clip from an article that I had in my little archives. And so let me pull this on the screen here. And so one of the things that has helped my education process and understanding monetary history is having gone back and read 19th and 18th century and 20th century literature. And so this news clip here is from, I'll actually pull up here. It's actually it's a screenshot I grabbed from a news source from 1913. And so the news source, I can give it to you now. It is called The Day Book. So The Day Book, if you type it in, it was an experimental advertised-free daily newspaper published in Chicago from 1911 to 1917. And it was so during this time, well before the Federal Reserve, journalism was real. You had true journalists that was able to speak the truth without censorship, because there was a large variety of news sources that you can grab information from. And if you take time to go read newspaper archives, you'll see how you get a very well-rounded viewpoint on the manipulation that was already underway. So gold and silver was manipulated back then. I'm gonna pull some charts up to show you. So this is nothing new, but the game has progressed at a much alarming, at a faster rate now, because of the whole technology and computers, and of course the introduction of silver as a commodity as opposed to money, and all that other stuff. But anyway, this is what I want to bring to your attention here, because it really caught my attention. So this clip here, I screenshotted from a newspaper that I was reading, which talked about this very picture here. It was February 2nd, 1913. February 2nd, 1913. So this picture here comes, or was published, before the Federal Reserve Act was even signed. So the Federal Reserve was just, the Senate was just, beginning to meet on the Federal Reserve process. So the Federal Reserve Bank was not even officially created yet. And so here, it's a advertisement that was put in the paper, and it talks about JP Morgan. And what caught my attention, and I also have another news clip from an article that I can't find, I wish I could, but it's about the Rothschilds. And of course, the Rothschilds, we all know who they are, but the image, which is similar to what you see here, it showed the same type of information. It showed how much gold they had, and the number, it was the biggest stash on the planet at the time. And I still believe probably is to this day, but we don't hear about them. But the JP Morgan, so real quick. So as you guys can see here, you can probably read it as well. It says, what does $1 million mean anyway? So mind you, this is 1913, February 2nd. And so it just talks about how much, and this is put together by the journalist or whatever, however. So they actually went and dug into his financial figures and came up with some information to share with the public in 1913. And it says Morgan's personal income would support a city of 62,500 families, or 310,000 or 312,500 people. And so it shows a man here sitting on top of a stash of coins. Mind you, this is before the Federal Reserve. This is before the removal of silver out of our coins. So just say, for example, that these coins that this individual is sitting on, which is representing JP Morgan, happens to be Morgan dollars, silver dollars. You know what I'm saying? So imagine a pile of silver dollars here is what this is being referred to. And then it says here, he couldn't possibly count his private fortune himself, in this little image down here. And then what really caught my attention is over here to the far right. It shows an older man, and I can't see who, but it says here, it says, somebody, James, I could not have done it. Would have to be an entire coin to count for. In order to count this, basically, it'll take 2,550 years to have the complete the pile of Morgan controls to count the entire stash Morgan controls. And then at the very bottom of here, it says he controls an army. And look at this number, if you guys can see it. It says $25,325,000,000. And this image represents what, to me, I take as silver coins or silver dollar or dollars in general, which happen to be silver. And so $25 billion is what this news clip refers to JP Morgan's, who was alive, of course, at the time, what his fortune was worth at that time. $25 billion in 1913, before the Federal Reserve and before everything that we've witnessed in the meantime. And so before the Federal Reserve, JP Morgan was in charge of the game here in the U.S. And it so happens that he was a part of the plan to bring in the Federal Reserve System, which came later on this year. So later on this year, from this article, the Federal Reserve Act was signed into law in December of 1913 and didn't get fully rolled out and utilized until 1914. But JP Morgan's stash was strong. Okay, so I lay that just to let you know that the JP Morgan family, JP Morgan, the bank themselves, they were the biggest holder of dollars in the form of decentralized coins at that time, because there was no national bank per se. And so $25 billion was reportedly his net worth at that time in dollars and silver. Okay. And so let's keep moving forward. And so one thing I wanted to touch on is what at the heart of everything we're experiencing right now. It has to do with, as I've always mentioned, trying to stabilize the ratio back to what it was historically for the last several hundred years. And so as of now, since silver itself was demonetized in 1873, I'm going to show that in a minute, and then it was removed from coinage from the people's hands officially in 1965. And then here we are, 1974. It was introduced as a commodity that was tradable in the form of all this paper stuff that we're witnessing now come to an end. The ratio at this current moment is even a little bit lower than it was in March of last year, when it got up to 120 to 1 in the form of ounces for gold. But yet what we're going to witness and what we're witnessing now is the distortion and shakeup of the whole paper rigging system. Of course, everybody's trying to, outdo the other, but it's all a front. I believe, as I mentioned before, for those tuning in, the Wall Street's Bets movement is an organization that is probably operating in the best interest of those that are, as I mentioned before, higher up in a tier, the too big to fail banks, because no matter what, we're going to lose some of those. But yet Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan, I believe, in my opinion, will be the last too big to fail banks standing. And JP Morgan will be because of their silver stash. And Goldman Sachs, I believe, in my personal opinion, will be a company remaining because of their allocation to the digital asset space. And so here's a chart here just to show you how significantly important this whole movement is for you and I in particular. It's the whole ratio aspect. And so here is a chart here that I grabbed from another old publication, And I'll actually, if you guys are interested in diving further and seeing this for yourself, it's in this book here at the rethinkingthedollar.com store. I reprinted it, copied it, made a little cover for it. And it was written in 1896 by James Patterson. So this visual aid I'm about to talk about now, amongst many other ones, are in this book. It's for free. Just go there to the store and download it. But this right here, this graph here, it goes back to 1687. So the gold to silver ratio, commercial ratio of silver to gold each year since 1687. And so this is the first thing I can find that went back this far. 1687, and here we are in 2021, which is 334 years. So for 300 or 290 of these years, the gold to silver ratio was between 1 and say 30 to 1, I give or take, because in the 60s it got out of control a little bit, 70s it got out of control, and in the 80s, of course, it took off from there. But on average, here's 1687 right here. Let me zoom in a little bit more, and so you guys can see what I see here. And so here we got the year. Here we have the ratio. And so 1687, the ratio was 14.94. So 14.94 ounces of silver would get you 1 ounce of gold, and right on through. And so 1700, 701, 703, so all the way through. Then you get over to this side over here. And of course, 1873, basically the demonetization or the crime on silver. And so that's when things got out of hand, because it was officially demonetized in the form of the ratio of silver to gold and used in commerce amongst the people, which was basically a way of, in a sense, removing silver out of the people's hands, because at that point, people were not able to actually use it to pay off their debts and things of that nature. And so it put them at a disadvantage. So anyway, 1873, we go. So 1873 was 15.92, then it went to 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. And then 1896, it was 30 ounces for silver. Okay, fine. Laying out a little history here. And so what I'm trying to get at is this current rigging the unraveling rather of the silver market. I don't think it's by accident. I think it's intentional. I think, this current system has ran its course, and now it's time for the transition. And so this Wall Street Bets narrative is great for mainstream attention, because it points the blame at somebody. It says that these people, whoever they are, they're the ones that's disrupting the old financial system. And so it's a great scapegoat for the manipulation that's been taking place in the silver market and gold market for the last 300 and something years, in a sense. And so it doesn't point to the banks. It doesn't point to the too big to fail banks as being the culprits behind this, which is what they want. And this plays into further of what I want to talk about here. Here's something I put together a while ago. And this is just, the changing form of our money here in this country here. And of course, let me see if you can see it a little better. But in a sense, it talks about just the historical charts, and this was something I did in 2018. But it talks about the percentage of what was in circulation. So in 1850-ish, 60% of the money in circulation was gold and silver. 40% was the paperback stuff, and so they were getting into they had the banknotes, and then of course the greenbacks came during this time frame. 1900-ish, 30% gold, silver, 40% backed, and then 30% unbacked. That's when we started getting to the whole fractional reserve model, fractional reserve lending, where the banks began to have more coins in their possession, and it started to lend off of those things. The fractional reserve lending model started. Then, of course, silver was removed in 1965, but yet it's 15% was available for the people in silver certificates and coins. And then we had paperback notes, 25%, and unbacked was 60%. And then introduction, of course, to digital stuff. And so as you've witnessed the evolution of our monetary system to the point now where in 2018, it was 98% electronic and 2% physical cash. And here we are 3 years later. We just witnessed last year where the money supply increased by about 25% or so. And so it's a lot smaller here. But yet what comes next, and what I'm going to have to put on here after this, is currency. It'll be cashless more than likely, and it's going to be 100% central bank digital currency. So this is what's going on, people. We're being transitioned to a digital environment solely, while the unraveling of the old financial market is rolled into, as I mentioned before, the tokenization utilizing digital assets. And as a result of all this, the gold and silver markets will be completely demolished as all this stuff unwinds. And who stands to win? JP Morgan, because once again, we all know what JP Morgan stands as of now. And so here's something, and this is last year, JP Morgan role in metal spoofing is under U.S. criminal probe. And so we know that too big to fail banks don't go to jail. JP Morgan is the leading too big to fail bank involved with the CFTC and the whole spoofing as far as basically robbing us of the true discovery price of metals. And so no one went to jail. Fast forward to September of last year, JP Morgan settles lawsuit that accused them of spoofing precious metals market trades. And so they just got slapped on the wrist with a $920 million fine. And so once again, when you go back to JP Morgan, who in 1913 was worth or had in his possession $23 billion at that time, what's happened over the last 100 plus years? They've gotten richer. The system has become more saturated with their crime to where it basically pays for them to just, commit as much crime as they can because they can't go to jail. And then as a result of this, I wanted to grab this here. And so this is something I got from James Anderson. And so I couldn't find nothing recent, but it just shows who also at this current moment at 2020 in the 21st century, rather, also still has the largest stash of silver or dollars or real true dollars, and it happens to be JP Morgan. So not only did JP Morgan, when he was alive, going back to 1913, when he had the largest stash of of silver, in the sense of these, as it says here, he controls an army of $25 billion, which we could say is silver dollars. And not only that, today also JP Morgan still has the biggest physical stash. And so this is old. I don't know what the current numbers are, but just say, for example, if it was 153 million ounces was in their inventory or JP Morgan's inventory in their vaults. And of course, they were doing some deliveries off of it. But yet I know for a fact last year or two, they stopped delivering from their own stash and they kind of dialed back in shorting the price or shorting silver because of, them wanting to let it flow. And so just for example, if there is 153 million ounces in their possession still at today's rate of, what is it, $27. You see how this still puts them ahead of the game? And this is in their possessions. This doesn't belong to the U.S. Treasury. This doesn't belong to the Federal Reserve, but JP Morgan is a shareholder or one of the owners of the Federal Reserve System. So no matter what, at this current moment, JP Morgan is still in control. So we're going to watch, of course, all the hedge funds, the bullion banks, all the small people, as I mentioned before. You got the too big to fail banks up top, all 6 or 7 of them, with JP Morgan, actually the only bank actually holding something physical. Goldman Sachs is heavy in the digital asset space. And then you got all the middle tier of the financial institutions, the hedge funds, the VC, all those individuals that are getting squeezed out right now, that's going bankrupt. It's all going to compress. So you got too big to fail banks, the middle class of the billionaire class, and then you got we the people down here. So all that's going to be compressed. You'll get rid of the middleman. It's going to be JP Morgan at the top and us at the bottom, in a sense. So that's kind of how this and where this is heading to. And so I just want to share that real quick as best I could. Let me see what we got here. So Jim Diggs say, Mike, why Mike going on about this? And so let me know what you're referring to. So let me stop ranting, open up the phone lines. We'll probably go a little longer today. And so I want to hear from you guys. But I just feel like I wanted to share this just because a lot of attention right now happens to be on all the fraudulent activity that's at the top of all this. All the paper stuff is deliberately being destroyed right now. And so it boils down to your ability to actually already have had your physical. Because as you guys have mentioned, right now you try to log into your favorite bullion places and get you some weight. And a lot of them are not, at this current moment, they still have some inventory, but they're not willing to sell it at the current price that it is now. And so they're trying to find out if there's going to be a jolt in the price of silver come I think about 6 or 7 p.m. this evening, when the Eastern Hemisphere opens up and trading begins on the East. We'll see what the price might be at that moment. So, but anyway, enough rant. Let me talk to you guys. So Solo says, Mike, what up? Thank you for getting up a live talk today. Yeah, no problem, man. I wanted to share some of this because, as I mentioned, I think, if it's of importance to anybody, I don't think that, there's many people who have even seen this visual representation of JP Morgan himself. and how much he was sitting on in 1913 before the Federal Reserve was even created. And so he himself and his entity and his Jekyll Island crew, they created the Federal Reserve to drain the entire world of wealth, which they've done a good job of that. And here we are now witnessing the unraveling of it. But it's not a grassroots movement. It's not by accident. Like this, everything going on now is deliberate. This is a part of their plan to usher in that great reset. Like none of this is by coincidence, and that's the problem. Like a lot of people think there's still people out there saying the good guys are, and they're painting the Wall Street's bets movement as those been a lot of good guys mixed in because they're giving us the people a chance to profit off of this. But ultimately, these small profits pale in comparison to what JP Morgan will just continue to be rolled into and what the Treasury and the Fed will eventually take advantage of. Because on our end, we still have to work and give energy, blood, sweat, and tears for some type of medium of exchange, which will unfortunately still come through them. So, yeah. Okay. I'm done ranting. Let's talk. Okay. Let me check in via chat. Feel free to ask a question. Give me a call. Let's talk. Let me see here. Jessica says, Mike, you not trying to short sell silver for elbow? What is that? Jessica, man, I'm not sure what exactly that is. And so for me personally, my motto with rethinking the dollar was understanding the difference between a fiat currency note and sound money. For those that are aware, what a real dollar is, to me, a real dollar has always been this beauty right here. So these things right here are dollars. These things here are Federal Reserve notes. They're about to send out a lot more stimulus checks denominated in these, but eventually you won't be able to buy many of these because as we're witnessing, the supply will not be as plentiful. So therefore, the time to have really gotten your weight up, is probably winding down in a sense. Michael Dale says copper, tin, and uranium. Definitely. Anything that comes from the earth at this current moment will definitely increase in value because of the scarcity factor and the fact that the supply of units in the form of these digital fiat currency denominated instruments are about to go bananas. Okay, so let me stop ranting. So get your thumbs up. Solo, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, so if you guys enjoying the rant and getting a little bit out of this, hit that thumbs up button, show your support for the channel. And just I feel my role is to just try to help make sense of things from a much bigger standpoint because everyone now is focused on the paper and the futures aspect and the Wall Street bets, but that's a part of their plan. Anyway, okay, my view says, do you think the economy will ever come back, Mike? Great question. And so what I believe, my personal opinion is that the economy is intentionally being restructured to look, completely different than it does now or what we've known prior to, because capitalism, the way that it was presented to us during the industrial time frame, the industrial age, is no longer. Now we're in a technologically advanced society going solely digital, so the economy will look different. The economy will remain because we're always going to have commerce of some kind, but it's just going to be a matter of how we all operate within the economy. So yes, the economy will still be here. It will not be as favorable as it has been for the United States of America because of our reserve status. So within this decade, it's only natural that nations will remove themselves off depending upon transacting in Federal Reserve denominated instruments. And so therefore that's going to bring down our quality of life significantly in this country. So the days of being the leader and everything through consumption it will be gone. We won't be consuming as much moving forward because of the shift in employment, the shift in the business model, as well as the shift in our government. So as I've always mentioned before, we're going to see a downgrade of society to eventually average out according to what the rest of the world is experiencing. So there will be a shift in how we view our economy, in my opinion. There still will be people who will do well, of course, but the majority, those that have solely based their entire lives on these instruments here, are the ones that are going to suffer the most in this transition. Okay, it says, so what do y'all, so Jim Diggs, great question. So it says, so what y'all think silver will be about $50 by midweek? That is a good assessment because there's a lot of fear right now in the paper sphere, in the digital sphere, when it comes to all those manipulative financial instruments they've created. So at this point, something could break this week. Sure, definitely, it will probably be a challenge to actually go online to your majority of your favorite places and get silver, or the silver will be available like it always usually is, but yet the premiums are going to go up. So to your point, I think spot price might still be manipulated a little bit. They might continue to slam, the contracts onto the market to try to lower the prices, but all the coin dealers will be forced to raise their premiums to meet demand, because of course there's going to be more demand this week coming up for sure, given all this excitement, because Wall Street Bets is drawing attention to silver intentionally to disrupt the financial powers that be all along. Where JP Morgan's stash in the 21st century is greater than in purchasing power and soon to be purchasing power more than it was. Well, no, not really. Okay, so 25 billion in 1913 is a lot because it went a lot further. But when silver is remonetized to whatever the true value of it is, say for example, if it's $1,000 an ounce, JP Morgan having the largest silver stash now would definitely put them in the trillions. So it does. So it will probably be more advantageous for JP Morgan in the 21st century than the 20th century. So yeah, I don't know. Okay, Bio says Bitcoin could go to zero at some point, folks. Don't even see that. Okay, and so the digital realm, and so JP Morgan has cornered the silver market. I don't think the government will be bold enough to disrupt that, because JP Morgan, for the most part, is bigger than the government, because they can do whatever they want and it doesn't bother them, because JP Morgan is directly related and linked to the Federal Reserve System. And so Uncle Sam is in for a hell of a shakeup come soon, because their only option is to further advance the whole digital movement by taking us digital, with the removal of physical notes. And so we're already down to a bare minimum of 2%, in 2018-ish. And so right alongside here is going to be the CBDC rollout. And then, of course, regulation on top of that. And, of course, for those that have not checked in, want to make sure I remind you guys to stay connected, as well as, share articles, join a Discord group. The link is down below, so you guys can stay up to date, because the guys do a great job of sharing articles throughout the day. So I appreciate you fellas. And also, if you had any ladies out there that want to get involved, sharing articles, news stories, feel free to join. We'll definitely love to have as much of a diverse crowd as possible to get as many perspectives as we can. Okay, so I'm doing too much ranting. You say Goldie says if it hits 1,000, if silver hits 1,000, I'll send you a postcard from Turks and Caicos. All right, so let's get open to the phone lines. We'll chat a little bit more. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
From Wisconsin. Matt from Wisconsin.
Matt from Wisconsin. Give me your thoughts on this silver squeeze, or JP Morgan winning the game, or what? What's on your mind, man?
Well, you know what? Not so much on JP Morgan, because that's just a bank that's going to do what it's got to do.
Yeah.
My thing is that this hyperinflation, which is going to cause, I think, silver to rise a good. I'll give it another 4 or 5 months into this Biden administration. We're going to probably see prices at $50-$60.
Yeah,
it's depending on collapse. And I'm looking at collapse too now.
Yeah.
Because don't get me wrong, by the time they're done, we're going to be at 30 trillion, upwards of 30 trillion in our known debt.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because put us back in everything that we were supposed to be out of.
Very true, man. And I think, unfortunately, or fortunately, I'm not sure how we look at it, but we're talking about $40, $50, $60 silver, still pricing it in Federal Reserve notes. And so, as long as there's confidence still remaining to price it in silver and Federal Reserve notes, we're going to be good to go. But I think it's going to be real eye-opening when the price gets so high that and confidence is lost in paper, to where people no longer link the two together, like saying silver's 1,000 or 2,005. Okay, so it can be $5,000, but what can you actually take it and go buy with it will be the thing, because all this is about how many resources you actually can acquire when it's time to get rid of it, if you choose to. And so I think it's going to be what do we price silver in by 2025 will be the question. Will it still be Federal Reserve notes, or CBDCs and or whatever, will we still be using the word dollar the way it's been used for the last 250 years, give or take? So I think that's what it's gonna be about.
It's going to probably be a point of value, so on how whoever you come across, who values what now. And you're absolutely right. I think the collapse will come this year. But it's not going to be how people think it's going to collapse.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, I appreciate your call, my friend. Thanks for sharing your insights.
No problem.
Yeah, be good.
All right, no problem. All right.
Yeah, good call, man. Great thoughts there. And so that's another thing, like, because manipulation has been so rampant and it's been occurring for so long, it's a little bit of excitement to see the price of anything rise, because it gives the feeling of, I'm winning. If you had nothing and all of a sudden you have something denominated Federal Reserve notes, as long as you can go out and buy something, it feels good. It gives you the hopes of being able to win along with this. But actually, it's not. The system is crumbling. You know what I'm saying? So we're pricing things in something that is the problem itself, i.e., the Federal Reserve notes, the debt denominated notes. And so it's a give or take, man, because I think we're even those that have benefit heavily in the whole GameStop movement this past couple of days and whatever coming up this week. It's a matter of taking those gains and profits and putting it into something real that you can have, now get use out of, as well as down the line when things go haywires, I think is what will matter most to everybody, because it's the idea of winning at a time where everyone's losing anyway when you price it in your national currency. So, for example, in a country right now that's already having hyperinflationary problems, so Argentina or something like that, the peso is so garbage that if you hold an ounce of silver, it's definitely going up in nominal terms. But once again, it's priced in peso. So it's not until you go take that silver to go do something productive with it for yourself that you'll actually reap the true benefits of it. And so you're not losing your purchasing power as fast as the people who don't have silver. But then again, you're still sitting on something that has value, but it's only valuable to the next person you can give it to for what you need. And so anyway, I'm doing too much rant. Give me a call to talk. Let me get into my phone. Lock myself out my phone. Anyway, so feel free to share a thought or whatever, and I'll put it up on the screen real quick. It says U.S. has been fighting satanic bankers since World War II, so no, it's time to pay the piper. Good point, man. So I see a lot of talk about Bitcoin out there. I haven't checked the markets lately. Let me see what's going on the BT side. And so just pull up the digital asset space real quick. A lot of red on the screen. But, digital assets are the future, of course. So don't get mistaken about a little bit of red. Hello, Carlos. Where you calling from?
Hello, Mike. This is William from La Jolla, San Diego, California.
William from San Diego. How you doing, my friend? Give me your thoughts on what we're talking about, or anything else on your mind.
Well, no, yeah, you've been talking about silver. I think that's the next stage, right? We've been setting up for this for a few years, and the miners have been down for a long time. And February, in the first week of February, the silver and gold miners will be reporting, as all earnings are reported, for fourth quarter. But I think they were going to do really well anyway. The price of gold and silver has been so high. Yeah. So I'm really excited about this. Yeah. But I wanted to mention that a long time ago, when I first started talking to you, I mentioned that, and especially our good brother from Texas, Corpus Christi, was saying how he had gone into debt to get silver. And I also told you I had gotten really good interest rates. So yes, I'm in debt, but now I'm paying it off with silver. I'm selling, I'm auctioning it off since 2017, an ounce at a time. Yeah. But the silver's gone up in price. My debt was controlled by low rates. So that's paying off. I'm paying off all my debt now. Yeah. And so, and that's one of the methods that, if done properly, can be a benefit to you. And so it sounds like you've been able to use it to your benefit, as well as those others out there that use debt, which is a great leverage. So definitely, man, more power to you. It's helped you get your weight up. And I wanted to say, one thing that's not mentioned in all the silver channels, these are masters of the silver world for a decade or two. They really know a lot. I always listen to you and to a lot of other silver masters. But what I understand really well is when you choose the silver, for example, they say, well, rounds, coins, what are you going to buy? Numismatic, Morgans, what? The premium. But I think it's more important to ask, what are you going to do? What's your plan to sell it? For example, some stuff that I have has milk spots, so I sell that back to the dealer, my local coin shop. But the stuff that's semi-numismatic that the eBay crowd loves, well, I just auction that off, no karma.
Yeah.
They're just volunteering to bid on it. So anyway, those are my thoughts. Thanks, Mike. I'll let you go.
Appreciate you, my man. Thanks for calling and sharing your thoughts.
Sure thing.
Yep. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Appreciate the calls. And I'm trying to lock myself out of my phone. Let me try to get back in here. Oh, but good. Anyway, so we keep it moving. All right, so let me check in via chat and then get ready to dial back. I just want to check in and share my thoughts on all this stuff and how I believe that this is all a part of a plan. Like, this is not coincidental. Like, we're not all of a sudden in 2021 and about to hit the first day of February tomorrow and everything is going belly up by accident because a group of individuals by the name of Wall Street Bets happen to be out there wanting to disrupt some things. Let me get this right. All right, so forgive me. Let me, missing the call. All right. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
This is USI Expat. I'm still in the great state of Wisconsin.
All right, my man. What's on your mind today?
Well, that they'll change the rules to suit whatever they want. Yeah. That's my concern with Bitcoin. I like the idea of Bitcoin. I mean, it's outside the Federal Reserve banking cartel. However, they'll just change the rules. They'll make it illegal. They did it with gold. They've done it with other currencies. And I just don't see it being accepted by the cartel.
Yeah.
Another thing is to sell silver. I mean, I'm paying about a 7% premium to sell it. Now, I bought 2,900 ounces of silver back in the spring when it was 18, and I paid 23. So, I mean, there's a big premium to buy it. However, to sell it, there's a premium to sell it too. What I've always wanted to do was open up a company, or someone open up a company where you had a fiduciary, where you'd ship it to someone, they'd verify that the metals are indeed precious, and then they'd ship it to the buyer at the agreed price. Because without that, I mean, look at what you guys, like this guy that just called, he sounds very knowledgeable, but he's talking about purchasing or selling gold on eBay. Yeah. They're charging not only the premiums, but 5.5% sales tax.
Yeah, and there might, of course, there's that listing fee as well. So, hello.
Yes, hi. Yeah,
no, I was saying the listing fee as well. I hear no feedback.
I'm sorry, Mike, you're breaking up.
No, it's okay.
If you can answer my question to everyone else, I'd appreciate it, because it seems like, who are we going to sell this silver to without paying this big premium?
Right. Good point. I'll put that out there. We'll get some thoughts shared.
Thank you, my friend.
Be good. Great stuff. So I'm getting a little feedback there, so he couldn't hear me. But it sounds like the question is, when it's time to sell, who are we going to sell it to? Or how will you unload your stash that you've been accumulating throughout your investment years, if that's the case? So feel free to let us know in the chat, and we'll touch on that further in a minute. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Crypto Corona, man, from Chicago. Mike, what's the move, man?
Doing good, my friend. How you doing?
I'm all right, man. I'm all right.
Give me your thoughts.
Hey, Mike, listen, man.
Yeah,
First they laugh at you, man. Then they fight you. Then you win, man. That's the road Bitcoin is going down right now.
Yeah.
You hear me? Like, silver, gold, Bitcoin, all of us, we in the same boat, man. I really hope that fracture stops, man, because we all gonna go up. The number go up, period, for all of us. All right. Now, where is it gonna go up the most? I think the digital currency, man. Elon Musk, he went Bitcoin. It's a wrap, man. I mean, the richest man in the world, not just America, right? The world. Whatever he chooses, man, that's where we going.
Yeah.
Now, in the meantime, between time, us stackers, we gonna get the benefits of that. But man, be smart. put some of that into crypto, man. Once it starts going up.
Yeah.
All right, because all the numbers go up from here, man.
Yeah.
But Mike, I appreciate what you're doing, man. Hey, just keep alerting everybody, man. It's crazy now. Again, it was just hearsay. We were just conspiracy theorists last week, right? But now we're not.
Exactly.
Now we're not.
It's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to get people's attention when they're hearing it from the mainstream sources now, and everybody talking about, did you get in? Did you get this? Did you get this? Tell me about this. Like, man, it's not too late, but damn, you late.
Exactly, and it's vague too, because they always said I never could put two and two together. They always said the revolution won't be televised, and it's not, but it is. I mean, it's not on TV like like the broadcast program, the television programming. It's not that.
Yeah.
We developed our own. We were able to use the first digital boom, which is Facebook and all social media, to take us into the next digital boom, which is the money, man. So it's time, man. I appreciate you though, Mike, man.
Appreciate you, man. Good to hear your voice.
Yeah.
Be good. Hello, caller. Where you calling from?
Hey, what's going on, Mike? This is Jimmy from Baltimore.
Jimmy, how you doing, my friend?
Pretty good. Have you been looking at the bullion sites?
So
like a lot of them.
Yeah, I touched on that earlier because I got some emails saying, Mike, I can't log, I can't buy this, can't buy this, and somebody in the chat mentioned that Golden State Mint, they are still placing orders right now. So that's the only one that I'm aware of that's actually still in business for now, because they just suspended, silver sales at this current moment. But go ahead though.
Yeah. And then the last caller, like I thought about that too. Like, who are we going to sell our bullion to at that given time? But maybe like some of what you're saying. What if when that time comes, like the dollar is what it really is, nothing. Yeah. You know what I mean? And everybody sees it. So I don't know, man. But yeah.
So one of my personal opinions is that, if you are a person who's been preparing as far as having taken the time beforehand to accumulate throughout the years in the form of savings, along the way, being able to acquire things that are important to you, like, definitely paying off your debt, if you have a whole lot of debt, buying things that will also retain purchasing power along the way, or also produce some type of cash flow denominated in whatever currency down the line. So not waiting until there's some ideal number that you have to reach to then go spend, because it may not be nothing on the shelves available. Like if real estate crashes, there may not be any structured format to go out and try to actually buy a house because of chaos or whatever. So we don't know how bad it can get, but along the way, I think you should definitely acquire the things you need, especially if you can afford it, having reaped some of the gains of the increase of your assets. So that's just my personal opinion. So I'm not going to wait until it reaches $1 million. So, but I appreciate you, man. Thanks for calling.
Have a good.
Yeah, be good. Yeah, man. Appreciate the call. Also appreciate the love right here. Casey Adams. If I'm not sounding incorrectly, it says retweet people's YouTuber. Okay, I'm not sure what that is, but I appreciate you, my man. Debt and Regret back in the building. Where you go? I missed you right there. Well, I just had you right there. What it says here. My main bullion deal in Australia empty, literally overnight. Really? So debt and regret. You didn't clean them out, huh? Yeah. So I remember last summer. I think it was last summer or March. I had somebody on the show. I was interviewing somebody, and I was mentioning, like, I think it was Andy Scheckman. Yeah, Andy Scheckman was on the show, and I was mentioning about that time when there's going to be so much chaos in the markets, as well as the inability for people to actually discover what the spot price is for anything, to where you won't be able to sell or want to sell, or get to the point eventually where you will not want to accept the currency itself. And so I'm thinking, like, how far away are we from that point to where bullion dealers themselves, their whole business model is based upon them exchanging real tangible assets for debt denominated paper notes and digits as well. So at what point does that disconnect actually have to come to an end, because the silver and gold or platinum plating, whatever it is you're selling as a business, becomes more valuable than what you're taking in? Like, that day is definitely in the future coming. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Mike, it's low blood pressure.
LBP. How's it going? I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Today is Silver Sunday, Mike.
Silver Sunday.
Yeah. Hey, look. My kids yelling in the background. You were talking about like bullion dealers not accepting paper money for for silver. They're doing it now, Mike. They just started. This is the beginning.
So you think it's going to continue throughout this week, or they're just making it appear like it's a Sunday situation to get a better assessment of what the price is going to look like come the time the open markets open in the East, or what?
Mike, I think this is it, Mike. All those years of maxing out credit cards and selling shoes to get a little extra money for silver, it's finally going to pay off, Mike. You know, the other callers were saying about, the richest man, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, whatever the hell. Just change the word dollar and put Bolivar in front of the bank account, because that's what they got, Mike. They got nothing.
Yeah, so so Jeff Bezos especially, I've been reading articles where he's been selling off some of his shares, and he's been taking $1 billion out here, $1 billion out here. So he's doing something with those billions. He's just not sitting. They're not sitting in the bank. He's buying space stations and he's buying tangible stuff for real. So I don't know what he's buying, but I wouldn't doubt if he has a nice little vault of some precious metals as well.
Yeah. It's finally coming to an end, Mike. Pretty soon we're gonna have to disappear, Mike. We're gonna have to be like figuring out what to do with so much cash. We're gonna have the problem of we don't know what to do with so much.
Yeah, and then also, okay, so around the end of manipulation coming to an end, it sounds good. Then also the world that they're also trying to create out there of fear and testing and tracking and the jab, and so a lot of the commerce we were going to have to do with the mainstream system will also come with that pass where you won't be able to do certain things unless you got that card or you got that QR code showing that you've been taking that jab. So also consider that as well. It's one thing to become a millionaire on one side, but if you can't spend it and have fun with it the way you want to.
Mike, don't worry about those things.
Oh, I'm not. I'm just saying.
When we go through customs, we're just gonna give them a silver dime, and we're gonna walk right through customs in front of the line. When we're not gonna have to worry about those things. People with money, they don't worry about those things, Mike. They just pay their way through everything. Cash talks. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now watch this. So I remember. I think it was who was it? I don't know, I forgot who it was, but he was mentioning about having, I think it's I forgot, but having some coins available to bribe at the border. I'm thinking like, that was why my Republic time frame. I'm like, nowadays they're gonna mess around, take your stash, and leave you with the coin.
I don't know. Hey, check this out. Like everybody worry about J.P. Morgan because they got so much silver.
Yeah.
Like who cares? They're always, the banks are always going to be in charge. Just let us little guys at least ride the boat with them. You know what I mean? Don't worry. People worry too much about these big banks. If it's not J.P. Morgan, one of us is going to start making a banking going crazy. So there's always going to be a bank.
Yeah. Good point, man. But hey, good to hear your voice, my man. Appreciate you for calling.
All right, Mike.
All right.
Have a good afternoon.
Yeah, you too.
All right. We'll be excited tomorrow. Bye-bye.
For sure. Yeah, man. Good stuff, man. So, yeah, I'm about to dial back. I just want to check in, hear from you guys real quick, share my 2 cents. So, for everybody that came in late, I kind of laid out my case as to why everything is strategically being done according to a plan that was already predetermined. So, none of this is by accident. I don't think this is, a Wall Street's bets. It's just a grassroots movement that just came out of nowhere to disrupt the bankers or whatnot. It is the bankers, man. And, of course, J.P. Morgan stands to benefit the most, according to the silver side of things. So, but anyway, for those who want to find out more, just watch the replay. You guys can hear all that rant I gave and stuff like that. Anyway, people about to dial back, but I appreciate you for hanging out. If you enjoyed the back and forth, feel free to hit that thumbs up button, show your support for the channel. Then also starting tomorrow evening, because I'm not sure what time I might do the public one, but I'm going to start doing the adult or the unfiltered live streams on the Patreon page. So for those that want to join that one, feel free to do so. Love your support. So just become a Patreon, and then we're going to kick off tomorrow evening sometime, and have a little bit of participation with the audience and have some real talk, unfiltered. So anyway, that being the case, be blessed, be safe. I will see you tomorrow, Lord willing. And of course, there's gonna be more than enough news to talk about. So I'll see you guys then. So appreciate it. And then I also see in the 1%. I appreciate the love offer, my friend. It says, what is that? Mines. So yeah, definitely. I'm on Mines. So let me put that on the screen real quick so I can show you guys. Definitely go connect. Let's stay connected off air. Best place to do so go hit the social media tab beneath this video here. Go over to the Discord page and then join the Discord and then share articles or whatnot and videos or any of your favorite content creators or whatnot. Share with the community so we can stay informed and up to date. And then also that's how we all formulate ideas and topics for the discussions that we have here. So other than that, be blessed, be safe, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace. Hey there, sorry for this interruption, but I wanted to bring something to your attention. If you've been enjoying this live stream, why don't you partner with me and be a support to the channel via Patreon membership for just a minimum of $5 a month. All you have to do is scroll down beneath this video here, click the Patreon link, then consider donating as little as $5 a month towards the channel. A little bit of crumbs can go a long way, and I appreciate your support. Now, let's get back to this live stream.